Hello, everyone. I'd like to start by saying thank you for making time to talk to me on a Friday. But I promise this will be an interesting discussion. I like to speak to young youth about their business ideas and the importance of PR within their business ideas. So let me introduce myself first. So my name is Kawthar Bin Sulayem. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Now, a serial entrepreneur means I've started multiple businesses from scratch, which I can talk about later. So I've started different businesses. I continue to look for new businesses and start, exciting, businesses that I'm passionate about. However, one of my first businesses that I started was in communication, and public relation is part of communication. So I started my career doing public relation, and I'm very excited to show you some small examples today of how can you use public relation in your business ideas. Does anyone know what public relation / PR?
Hey
I have to say something, guys. This is not going to be just me talking. I will expect you guys to engage because this is the only way we can actually have a discussion.
I did let them know about that, so I'm hoping they don't let me down. So guys, when Ms. Kawthar asks a question, if you want to raise your hand in the class, and I'll ask you to speak. Otherwise, I'll just pick people at random. I'm sure you don't want me to do that. Okay, Ali Azia, go ahead.
Public relations is the professional maintenance of a favorable public image by a company or other organizations or even a famous person.
Correct, Eliazia. So public relation is a strategic communication process that builds beneficial relationship between the media, the individuals and organizations and their target audience. So it's a relationship building exercise. So what I want to do now that we know what public relation is, I'd like each one of you to introduce yourself and tell me one thing that you are passionate about.
Okay, so I'm just going to shout people's names out, okay? And when I say your name, just unmute your microphone and answer Ms. Kawthar's question. So we'll start with Samana.
Hi, my name is Samanna. I'm 14 years old, and I think I have a lot of things I'm passionate about, actually. I like public speaking, I like debating, and I'm also passionate about music.
Nice.
Fantastic. Okay, let's go with Hotsi.
Hello, my name is Musa. I'm 14 years old. I'm passionate about horse riding.
Brilliant.
Nice.
Keenan.
Hi, my name's Keenan. I'm 16 and I'm passionate about sports and aviation.
Ryan Tautau.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm 14 years old and I'm passionate about sports, basketball, and the saxophone.
Fantastic. Reem.
Hi. Oh, did you say Reem?
Reem, yeah. You have the same surname. Are you related to Miss Kawthar? No? Okay. Never mind.
Hi, I'm Reem, and I'm passionate about learning more and getting to know more people and helping others.
Perfect. Thank you, Reem. That's lovely. Si-hyun.
Yeah.
So you had to just introduce yourself and let Miss Kawthar know something that you're passionate about.
Okay, so my name is Si-hyun and I'm in grade 12 and I'm passionate about like some drawing or making something.
So you're creative, that's lovely. Arya. Arya Agnihotri. Just unmute your mic if you haven't done that. Arya, you're not there? We're going to move on. Okay, Ali Alamari.
Okay. Hello.
Hello. So Ali, I think you just joined a bit late. So Ali, you just have to introduce yourself and let Ms. Kawthar know something that you're passionate about.
Okay, I'm Ali Amari. I'm 17 years old, going to grade 12. I'm passionate about horseback riding.
Nice.
It's lovely. Okay, who have we got left? Mapra. Or Mara.
I'm Mahra. I'm 15 and I like swimming. I'm passionate about swimming.
Nice.
Okay, Ahmed Aoud. Ahmed.
I'm Ahmed. I'm 15 and I'm passionate about sports and art and design.
Perfect. Sports quite popular with the young ones. It's lovely. Okay, who's left? Has anyone not spoken that would like to speak? I think we've covered most people. Okay, go ahead. Now your mic's working now. Great.
Okay, I'm Arya. I'm 15, and I'm passionate about sports, business, and music.
Perfect. I think that's everybody, unless I'm wrong.
Speak?
Oh yeah, Mafra, go ahead.
I'm 14 and I'm passionate about art and theater.
Perfect. Anybody else left? Okay.
I'm Liazia.
Sorry, go ahead.
I'm Liazia, and I'm passionate about creating art that people can relate to and creating music.
Beautiful. Anyone else left?
I'm Maha. I'm 17 years old. I'm passionate about sports and painting.
Perfect. Thank you, Maha. All right. Anyone else? 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, perfect.
So guys, thank you for making the introductions. I'm honestly fascinated by the diverse passion basket, I call it. This is amazing. And it's very important when you do a business or you start a business that you are passionate about. And it also applies in PR. The exercise that we've actually just done by introducing ourselves is one of the basic exercises you do in PR. Wherever you go, if you represent yourself or represent an organization or an entity, you have to make yourself known in front of your audience. So this is one of the tactics of making sure that you stand out. Now, I want to talk a little bit about brands. If someone can just like randomly tell me, what is your favorite brand that you engage with, either at a shopping mall, online?
Hey guys, can you raise your hands, please, just so we don't have people all speaking at once? Samana, you can speak first because I know you want to say something. And anybody else, please raise your hand. So Samana, you can go first.
Apple. So I have a lot of Apple devices at home.
Okay. What else?
Okay, Reem. Reem, just speak a bit louder, please. You had your hand raised.
Nike.
Nike. Great. Okay, guys, let's just keep going quickly. Okay, quick fire.
I need one more.
All right, one more. Okay, Mara, sorry.
Adidas. Okay. It's interesting because these brands, they all have something in common. They're all good at doing public relation. Let's take Nike, for example. I'm sure you have your favorite, athletic wear, sneakers, any kind of fashionable product that they actually offer to audiences or their market, buyers, for example. Do you know why they appeal to you? They appeal to you because they look fun, they look exciting, they look cool. And all of these things can only be communicated to consumers through PR because they've practiced PR exercises. They've actually used celebrities, for example, endorsement deals to make sure that their brand is visible. They use football, to make sure that everyone knows about their new latest shoes that's out there, and other tactics in PR. When you buy a product like Apple, for example, if you go and buy a product, you notice that Apple product is highly priced compared to other products in the market that's maybe offers similar services or similar products. And the reason why these products are highly priced is because they actually consider within their cost, the product cost, the price of PR. Means their reputation matter. So PR helps create reputation for brands and businesses. And when you are successful to a level like Apple and Nike and Adidas, you can actually raise your cost or consider PR and your reputation as part of your costing. That's why PR is very important. People think of PR as just, oh, someone is talking to someone about something. Yes, it is true. They are talking to each other about something, but that creates reputation, that creates perception in the market, that creates interest. All of you here probably don't know the history of Nike, how Nike started, but you are in love with Nike. Why? Because they practice really good PR on you as a market. I want to ask you guys about practices that you know of PR. For example, name some personalities, okay? Name some personalities that you think are doing really good PR, either through their products or inventions or businesses.
Hey guys, great. Thank you, Ms. Kawthar.
Sorry, say that again.
Communication.
Okay, correct. Communication is one tactic of PR, but like name personalities. I want to give me personalities or brand names.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yes, Ali, this is a very nice example.
Hey guys, you can just speak freely, I guess, now. So Elon Musk.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yes, that is also a good example.
Kanye West.
Correct, Kanye West. Controversial, but he's very good at communication.
especially last few days.
Bill Gates.
Yes, Bill Gates is an example.
Big celebrities like the Jenners.
Yes, okay. Let me give you a simple examples of how those famous people have used PR. For example, one of my favorite speeches, like if you are into communication and PR and everything, you will appreciate speeches. Like people, when they give public speeches or like, you know, address a big audience, they think a lot. Some people practice for so long in order to make sure that their communication skills and their message is coming across clearly to the audiences. So one of the examples that I really like is Barack Obama. If you look at Barack Obama, he's a politician, right? He is very famous, very well respected globally. He used PR to reach to a specific target audience within the US community. For example, when it came to the election, he basically used the fact that he's very confident personality, yet he is fun. And he uses that in their communication. So when he goes and gives a speech, if you look at examples on YouTube, you will notice that Barack Obama have created his own communication style, his own public relations style, which is I'm confident, but I'm also fun. And I'm also serious. Another example is Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been doing amazing work, not just him, even his wife, Melinda Gates, on how they actually use PR to spread the information of the work they're doing all across the world to eliminate specific disease. They are doing it in events, speaking opportunities. They're doing it through press releases and press interviews. They are doing it through meetings and all of that. Another example is Elon Musk. Elon Musk and Kanye West have showed us how to use PR in a positive way and also in a negative way. So you also need to look at examples of Elon Musk, for example, when I think last year he talked about, he faked some news about his stocks in the global markets. And then that's a bad way of using PR, but it got him so much coverage and exposure, but it affected his business. But at the same time, with SpaceX, for example, he used positive PR. Same thing with Kanye West when he talks about music, talent development, investing in youth. He used his public figure, being a famous individual, to talk to this target audience, to encourage them and empower them. But at the same time, he also used examples of PR that affected him negatively. So these are some examples. These are personalities. I'm pretty sure you can actually look at companies as examples if you do research. I will give you an example of Toyota. For example, Toyota, a couple of years ago, I don't remember exactly when, they've had their CEO in a press conference to talk about the fact that they've recalled cars from the market. these cars were very successful. They were sold everywhere. They had very good, you know, a lot of people bought this car, but they had to recall the car because they were a manufacturing error. What happened is the CEO of Toyota wanted, you know, to host a press conference. And during the press conference, he was so emotional about the fact that they had to recall all the cars. He was under a lot of pressure. He was not prepared and stressed, and he actually cried during the press conference. What does that say about this personality in that situation? Can someone give me an example? I'll take 2 answers from this.
Hey, Aliasia?
That he worked really hard, that he got some difficulties in the process.
Okay.
Ryan?
It shows that he's kind of sensitive and that he wants to give himself kind of a human-like figure rather than kind of like a robot, which shows he has emotions.
Okay, I think I'll take 1 more.
Okay, Samana?
I think he should have been more prepared. I know that it's like a sensitive thing, but he should have been more prepared to answer questions if he's seeking to develop his public relations.
Yes. So I'll tell you from a PR professional, what does that mean to us? First, obviously what Samana mentioned, that he should have been more prepared. The second thing is you have to eliminate emotions from your PR exercises. You can't show emotions during the PR exercises unless it's required. In this incident, for example, it really damaged the reputation of Toyota because they felt that them as a business, as a global business, did not really prepare their CEO, but at the same time, they were so emotional about their brand. And sometimes in business, you can't show emotions. That was not the right time to show emotions. Of course, you can show emotions in other situations. Let's say if you're working on a charity project or something that's focused on human development, refugee camps and things like that. But you need to pick when to show emotions in PR. Obviously, that was not the best place for emotions. So I want you to also look at that and understand that in business, sometimes you might be emotional, but you have to really be strong and you have to really be prepared to handle media, because media, end of the day, if you look at the questions that he received and how they made fun of him, media don't care. So you have to be strong. Now, how important is PR? I want to know from your perspective, why do you think PR is important to your business idea, the businesses that you're currently working on?
Okay, so if you want to raise your hands and, okay, Aliasia, okay, I'm very thankful, Aliasia, you always want to speak, that's great, thank you. Aliasia, go ahead.
PR, if we did PR in the correct way, we would get many opportunities from it, and that's a big advantage.
Okay, that's
Fantastic.
good.
Ryan, you would like to speak?
Having a positive PR when we're having like a few, like not so many sales, it's good because it drives word of mouth, like advertisement. So if we give quality PR, customers are more likely to come back to us.
Ryan, I just want to add something. You've highlighted something really important, but also a trap for a lot of brands. PR should tell the story of the brand or business from an authentic perspective, not only to drive traffic, but drive the right traffic. So you still need to keep up the quality, the services, and everything that you service. What happens, I'll give you an example. There's so many brands in the UAE, local brands created by entrepreneurs, young entrepreneurs like you guys. And because of lack of passion, because they did very, very nice marketing campaigns and PR campaigns, they drove so many people to the business, but then people were disappointed. Why? Because the quality of what they promised online or through PR was not delivered. And therefore, it was damaging for the business. And because the damage had happened, now these businesses have to invest more money and time and effort to rectify the damage. So it's a very tricky situation. You want to drive traffic, but you want to make sure that your services and quality of products and everything you promise in these PR is delivered. Otherwise, your effort goes to waste. So I like the fact that you mentioned this.
Perfect, thank you. Reem, I seen your hand was raised for a moment. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say that PR is very important because, as Kawthar said, that ruin a business's reputation, which you already mentioned.
That's correct. Reem, speak loudly next time because I can't hear you. So that's correct. Reputation, you can manage reputation of an organization or a personality through PR. I'll give you an example. Have you heard about Johnson & Johnson? A big famous brand, right?
Yeah.
They had an issue with one of their products and it was recalled from the market. You know what tools they've used to actually gain the trust of the market again, to promote the other products that were good and available? They've used PR. So it's very important when it comes to reputation management. This is also part of public relation and communication, is reputation management, either for a business or a personality. Your reputation sells everything. Okay, so I want to also explain something really important. When you look at public relation, people assume that public relation is just for big companies or big business ideas. Public relation is so important in so many aspects of life. So you can practice public relation in your business. You can practice public relation if you are an employee of an entity. You can practice public relation with your family if you want to convince your parents about a specific thing to do or a specific idea. You can use public relation to convince your teacher that your presentation deserves more grading. There are so many ways to use public relation in life. So if your business is as small as grocery store or a kiosk, or you are Pepsi, you still need public relation. Let me ask you guys, now we talked about different brands and personalities using PR. Can you tell me what forms of PR that you are aware of? Like, explain to me some forms that you know of.
Okay, so if you'd want to raise your hand to answer Ms. Kawthar's question. So what forms of PR do we already know that we can see? Okay, Reem, go ahead. And speak loudly now, Reem, because I think the microphone's quite quiet on your end.
Advertisements?
Yes, advertising is a form of marketing, but is very much aligned with PR, but it's an advertising and marketing.
Okay, we have a
relation.
Mahra Al-Hadari, if you can speak, please.
Yes, Mahra, go ahead.
Mahra?
Affairs?
I haven't heard you. Can you say that again?
Public affairs?
Public affairs, yes. Public affairs is one part of communication and public relation. What else?
Okay, Maha Muhammad.
Publicity.
Publicity, which is PR, using PR to publicize certain products or companies. That's good.
Okay, guys, if you can try and think of some examples that you've seen, like
there's so many examples.
Like think about
media. What kind of media?
So what Ms. Kawthar is trying to ask you, so your media affairs, publicity, but name an example, like an actual campaign that you've seen.
Sorry, Suman, say that again?
A press conference.
Yeah, press conferences is one part of public relation. What else?
Aliazia, would you like to speak?
A comprehensive form that can be used for online booking, reservations, transportations, planning, or tours.
Okay, let me explain to you how you can use PR in different platforms and what are these platforms. Platforms means social media. Anything you can see, like all the social media, Instagram, TikTok, even TikTok, you can use it as a form of communication to sell an idea. I'm pretty sure you guys have used YouTube and TikTok and you've seen people making money on these platforms. So social media platforms. Obviously, another area is events. Events is a way for you to communicate with a mass number of people. So through public speaking, for example, or doing workshops or gatherings within the event itself. Another example is developing press releases. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the terminology press release, but a press release means a press material that you prepare to share with media, like the National Ittihad, Emarat FM, all kind of media outlets, and also media interviews. So you see, like, all these famous people are doing interviews on the red carpet, or they're doing interviews to talk about specific project on Ulum al-Dar, or like the national news. These are all media interviews. Basically, you can use PR to engage with radio stations, TV station, print and online, and obviously social media. So there are different platforms you can use. So when you think of your business idea, you have to think of all these platforms. They call some of them modern PR and some traditional PR. But both of them are equally important when you think of your concepts. You see sometimes when you drive around and you see there is a bridge banner, right? An advertising on a bridge about a product, and then you go watch TV and suddenly there's an ad about Nike's latest shoes. There's different form of advertising and different form of PR practices. So I want you guys to study this and understand it. There is actually a book. I was not sure if I should mention it or not, but this book, trust me, even hardcore PR professionals buy this book, for them to use it as a reference. It's called Public Relation for Dummies. You know the Dummy series? It's a very simplified, easy book to read. I also have this Public Relation for Dummies. I actually gifted all my team members this book because it's very simplified and it's good to use as a reference and going back to it if you're not sure about certain tactic or anything like that. So from my perspective, I wanted to give you like a general overview of public relation. And I want you guys to really go back and do your own research and think about it more. And how does this going to complement the business ideas that you have, which you're going to pitch to a group of judges. Now I want to focus more on the business ideas. So I want each group to nominate one person to briefly tell me about your business idea that you're working on now. And then if you have any questions for me about my business, or any advices you need from me to improve your business ideas, or to fine tune the idea and how you take it further, what to expect in business, and all of that.
Thank you, Ms. Kawthar. So one person from each group I'd like to raise their hand and explain to Ms. Kawthar what your idea is for your business that we have been working on so far. That would be lovely. Okay, I'm going to start with Ryan. Ryan, would you like to just talk about your business idea to Ms. Kawthar, please?
Sure. Yeah. So our business idea is essentially a range of environmentally free, it's an environmental range of products like shampoos and conditioners that we manufacture using a special shell called Nopla technology. So it's essentially cutting down on the amount of packaging that people need to use, cutting down on the amount of emissions that people use. So our main product that we're going to focus on is called like the reusable pod. So it's essentially a shampoo or conditioner inside of the skin, and the skin is dissolvable when in contact with water. So it essentially allows you to use like a single use time of a shampoo or conditioner without actually creating lots of carbon emissions or anything harmful to the environment.
So it's a beauty product. You'd say it's a beauty product or hair or body product that is sustainably friendly, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to look at the market, especially global market, not just the UAE. There are so many big brands have actually taken this approach. Compare your product to these brands. Okay, they're famous. They're all over social media, by the way, because a lot of celebrities now focus on climate change and sustainability, and they want to buy from ethical brands and ethical sourcing. So research your competitors and find out what they're doing. Either they are small or big. It will be very interesting to see, what you learn from these competitors because they've had a head start. And just to give you an advice, the beauty industry is very competitive, very competitive. So also keep that in mind when you do your business planning and market research and all of that.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Kawthar. Okay, we'll just go group to group now. So we'll go now with group 2. And Samana, you're the group rep for group 2. Would you like to speak?
Yeah, so our business idea is we've basically taken the pandemic situation, and since masks are something which literally every single person is wearing right now, so we've decided to make biodegradable masks. So they're basically made out of plant waste, for example, sugarcane bagasse. I don't know how to exactly pronounce that, but that's the sugarcane waste, which is used to make the mask. So what we've researched, and we found that these masks are relatively easy to make, and they're also very comfortable. So that's our idea, and we've also decided to make an app so it could home deliver. And we've also made it so everyone can personalize their mask. They can input their own design, or they can make a different color. So yeah, that's our idea.
It's a nice idea, Sumana, but you have to make sure that your idea is not seasonal or limited to a specific time. I'll give you an example, like Christmas, like Christmas trees, all the decoration, everything. These are seasonal products. They only can sell at specific time of the year. In this instance, for example, you need to think of it, okay, now we are serving a purpose of helping people get sustainable masks, and these masks will be good for the environment. However, how are we going to sustain the business after the pandemic? This is very important. And also you need to make sure that your business targeting, like where you're going to sell this, it's clearly identified. For example, are you going to sell this into countries that have a high number of climate issues? Are you going to sell this in places next to the sea, people who consume things and have no money? So all these things you have to keep in mind. And also very important, the cost of the mask. As you are aware, I'm sure from your research, when you source materials like the examples you gave, they're expensive to source. How will that reflect on the cost of the masks? Is this mask for everyone, or is it going to be affordable, or is it going to be for people who want something unique and fun and ethical, but they can afford paying more? Look into all of these things in your business idea, because they are very important.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to move on to group 3 now. And Reem, I can see your hand is raised and you're in group 3. Reem, would you like to talk now, please?
Yes. I'm in the health and well-being group, and our business idea is to make an online platform that offers tools and material that can aid physical and mental health patients. And it's going to be used as a membership program, which you can pick what you want. Also, we'll make self-care packages, which can aid and help them cope with what they have.
Very nice idea. I think when it comes to mental health, it's very important that the sources you use for any tools and materials within the platform, that they are accurate materials approved by authorities or the professionals that specialize in that sector. Another advice I will give you, focus on how you're going to maintain confidentiality of your patients or your clients, and the confidentiality of the doctors, to make sure that it's transparent. All of these things are important. And I would suggest that you do surveys and talk to people within the sector to find out really what's needed. Because mental health, a lot of people have misunderstanding of mental health. They think mental health means, excuse my language, someone is crazy. That's not how mental health works. For example, I'll give you a personal example. My dad passed away in 2010. It took me 3 years to accept and recover from my dad's passing. The stuff that I went through, the grief process and the trauma that I went through, that's considered part of mental health. So everyone, it's easy to, you have to mention in your platform and make it simplified that almost everyone globally suffers from mental health, but it's how severe is the cases. So make sure that's clear as well, and seek advice from professionals in the sector. Don't assume information, and don't just depend on information from Google, because there's a lot of information in Google, but you need from official sources. And that's it.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kawthar and Reem. Okay, so the transportation group, Keenan, would you like to speak?
Hi, yes. So basically, we thought that the transportation in Abu Dhabi is an area to focus on. So we came up with an idea for a tramway. So we're thinking of placing a tramway in Yas Island, which covers all the major spots. It will start at the hotel area, going along Yas Marina Circuit to Ferrari World to Yas Mall to Ace and IKEA to Warner Bros to Yas Water World and into West Yas. So that it's just more accessible for public transport, because right now almost everyone uses taxis and they can get quite expensive depending on the location where you're going. So this just enables a better public transport route, especially if tourists come and stay in the hotels on Yas Island, whichever time of year. It'll be available for them to go to different places. And then for phase 2, we're hoping, if phase 1 in Yas Island is successful, to be able to bring in a tramway in the city.
It's a nice idea, Kenan, but I want to give you an advice. I actually have a huge experience in the mobility sector, even sustainable mobility. I would suggest that you really dig into numbers of how much does it cost for the government or a city to build the roads, the infrastructure of transportation. So look into that, look at the numbers, because people will ask you about the numbers. This is a big project. The first thing, they want to see figures. So find out the numbers. The second thing is, you have to understand what's happening in the sector. I know, for example, in Yas Island, there are free shuttles that moves you around to these destinations. I do understand they might not be so friendly or like easy to use or whatever, but they currently do offer these things. So know your offerings within the areas that you want to pitch for the judges. That would be my advice. And I think you should think of a pilot. You need to do this somewhere else, not in a place that's been already existing, because you have to look at the urban planning of the city. So you need to consider implementing a pilot in new areas to test it first. Because to rebuild, let's say to rebuild and restructure things, let's say in Yas Island, will not only cost so much money, but it will disturb, the day-to-day business and the day-to-day people lifestyle that lives in that area. So you have to keep all of things in mind, especially when you're presenting to the judges. You have to know these things and know your numbers, and know your stakeholders that you want to engage with. Stakeholders means who you want to partner up with, either financially or, for example, partner up with in terms of advice. Like, for example, Department of Municipality and Transport can help you with the urban planning section. So you need to think of all of these things, because it's a big project. It's very ambitious. It's also going to hit, the sustainability element, but find out really what's happening in the market, specifically in the Emirates.
Okay. Thank you very much. It would be nice, though. I know Dubai has a big metro system. It would be nice if Abu Dhabi one day they had a tram system as well. I'm sure they will at one point, 10, 20, 30 years from now. So I'm sure it will happen at some point.
It's actually within the plan, the development plan of Abu Dhabi. They were always planned to have even between Dubai and Abu Dhabi, and even between Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and Saudi Arabia. Wow. So that's why I'm saying you have to learn about what's happening in the Emirate. And I would suggest to Kenan to also read the 2030 Abu Dhabi development plan, especially in the mobility and transportation. You will learn so much, and it will make your presentation stronger.
Thank you for that. I didn't know that Saudi Arabia, there's a train from Saudi Arabia to the UAE. Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
but it's gonna be a bullet train. There's a discussion about this. It's like the Hyperloop, you know.
Okay, cool. All right, Si-hyun, would you like to speak on behalf of your group, please?
Yeah. Okay. So, we are planning a company that focuses on and dominate the electric car charging market. And we will innovate by improving efficiency of chargers and also place them in convenient places like malls and car parks, so people can use them well. And we set prices that can compete with petrol prices, as they are like as they have a relationship that competing with each other. And in addition, we conduct research into creating faster chargers for the electric car.
Okay. I want to give you, again, because this has to do with mobility and automotive and everything, I have a lot of experience in this area. I want you to look at ADNOC. You're aware of ADNOC, I'm sure. So ADNOC obviously runs gas stations, right? ADNOC are in the process right now to install, you know, these chargers in all the stations. So you have to look into that, like what they are doing and why they're doing it and which areas, because they're installing all these chargers. They are aware that the consumer behavior has changed and that a lot of people are becoming more environmentally conscious, and a lot of people wants to drive electric cars. We see it with Tesla, we see it with other brands, even BMW is working on something, even Porsche is actually launching a very nice car that's you know, electric. So there's so many automotive companies that are targeting the UAE to actually install these chargers across the Emirate, specifically in Abu Dhabi. I'm talking because that's where I know of all of these things. In residential areas, they're even offering these chargers for people to install in their villas against a fee, or if you buy a car. So automotive companies are now offering buyers, let's say I'm buying a Porsche, let's say electric car, and they will say, okay, we will include within your car cost a charger for your house, so you can use it in a villa. So all these things I want you to look at, and you might need to tweak a little bit your idea and maybe act as a support system for these things or the consumers, because still no one knows where these chargers are. They are everywhere, and they're different type of chargers. There are chargers that needs, I don't know how many hours to charge a car, and there are chargers, we call them superchargers, that charges like in 20 minutes. So look into all of these things. Look at what ADNOC is doing in terms of gas stations and how they are installing chargers. Look at Yas Mall. Yas Mall has chargers. Other malls are now starting to install. So I would say the idea is great, but it needs a lot of refining, and you need to know what's happening in the Emirates in this regards. Because even in Dubai Mall, if you go to Dubai Mall, there are chargers. It's starting to pop up in a lot of places. So maybe your idea should complement what they're doing so you don't repeat, or you change the concept. I know it's too late in the game, but there is always time. You know, if you're passionate about something, there's always time.
Yeah, I think that's a very good advice. I think for your group, Sihyun, maybe you look at complementing businesses that are already doing this. Take Ms. Kawthar's advice. How can you work with them to maybe perhaps encourage people to buy electric cars more? Because the more people that buy electric cars, the more the demand will be, and the more chargers we'll see across the country. But, yep, great advice. Okay, Ms. Kawthar, I guess that's the end. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Kawthar?
Yeah.
Sorry, forgot that bit. Okay, Aliazia, would you like to ask your question?
Go ahead.
What's your biggest advice for us being entrepreneurs?
Okay, an advice I want to give you as entrepreneurs, as young entrepreneurs working in a group setting. First of all, make sure you're passionate about your business idea as a group, that you're really, really passionate. Second, you have to put the effort and dedication into the business idea. You win, you don't win, it says so much about you as an individual. You know, take it as a challenge for yourself, for the competition. And I would say, keep learning non-stop. I'll give you an example. I started my business in 2006. Until today, I'm learning every day something new to improve my business model or a service that I can add. There is no time to stop. And, you know, an advice I also want to say is that, or give, that entrepreneurship is not easy. Entrepreneurship are for those who want to make changes in the world. This is not for someone who wants to chill and do nothing. And I believe with all the passion that you shared with me, all of you in the beginning of the session, you guys have this strong commitment that you want to give to this competition. And I think this will lead into your business even growing beyond the competition. So that will be my advice.
Thank you, Ms. Kawthar.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Anybody else would like to ask Ms. Kawthar a question? Now is your chance.
Ask me anything. I love talking to young entrepreneurs.
And your PR, you're all about talking. Perfect. Okay, anybody at all would like to ask Ms. Kawthar?
Me.
Go ahead, Rita.
Okay, so I wanted to ask, is there a way that customers, we can use customers as a PR source?
Yes, of course. You know, I'll give you an example. On my social media, I don't have a huge followers, but the people that are on my social media are people I personally know, or people who are very passionate about the same things that I am interested in: PR, entrepreneurship, you know, technology, and so on. I normally, for example, do one thing for my favorite brands or my favorite, you know, suppliers. For example, I have a doctor that treats me for my back. I have a back problem. I love this clinic. They are so efficient. They are so good. The doctor is so friendly. Everyone, it's a small clinic, but everyone is so good that they didn't ask me to do that, but I am personally advertising them and PRing them on my social media. I tell my friends about it. I tell my friends all the time, oh, if you have a back problem, you should go to Dr. Ahmed. He's the best. This is a form of PR, word of mouth, you know? So definitely you can turn your customers into PR talking tools. That's what we call them. But you need to deliver on the promise. You need to deliver on the promise for them to want to do it themselves.